What's good, everybody? One Piece chapter 1043 just dropped, and this chapter right here is nothing short of hype. My name is Slim, and I'm going to be bringing you a breakdown of one of my favorite chapters in this Wano Arc. My synopsis of this chapter goes as follows. Luffy is defeated, CP0 boss is killed, Kaido returns to the main floor, Momo and Yamato are about to fight Kaido, Kid and Law can still fight? Zunesha hears something interesting, and what's the status on Luffy? All that will be discussed in this chapter. Now, One Piece, chapter 1043, titled, Let's Die Together. Alright, so we're starting out with the cover page again, volume 7 of An Emotionless Excursion of German 66. Oven arrives at Whole Cake Island with the book and his sidekick, Brûlé. The whole area is pretty much still destroyed from the actual events of the Whole Cake arc. Also, Oven's legs look really tiny, so I just want to point that out. He needs to hit leg days. Chapter starts out with the after effects of the Kaido attack. Luffy gets hit straight on and his Gear 4 is rapidly losing air. Kaido is still in shock but can't stop the attack, so Luffy's getting a full blunt attack from Kaido. We see Luffy is bleeding from the mouth and he is wide-eyed as soon as he gets hit. The CP0 boss knows Luffy has been defeated and he just stands there instead of running away like the coward he is. So the force from the attack of Kaido makes a gigantic crater in the dome, and the third CP0 agent, I'm going to call him Hunchback, is aware of what's happening, calling him that for obvious reasons. But it looks like he's just staring out a window. Apparently, I guess his observation hockey is allowing him to see it, because I don't think there's any possible way he can see the fight from where he's at. But he's there. So Luffy immediately loses all his air he has stored up from his Gear 4, and he's falling to the ground as he's being hit by Kaido. Kaido is crying because I think he's remembering of Oden and what actually happened and how he defeated Oden. He's feeling bad about it. We then cut to Momo, who's in shock that he can't hear Luffy's voice anymore. So Luffy might be dead or just unconscious, we don't know. Luffy looks about as physically damaged as Law looks, honestly. So that's making me think that Luffy is not dead, but he might have some really bad internal damage that allows him, or not allows him, but makes him die. So he's still silent. The CP0 boss just tips his fedora, signifying that he won't be holding any doors open for more ladies. Sad for him, sad for us. He was all a fan favorite by far. Winner, 100 Beast Kaido. Kaido death stares the CP0 boss. He knows, we know, everybody knows that the CP boss is dying right here. So if he doesn't die, Oda, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. So Kaido looks at him, you gonna die. Kaido hits him with almost a full strength Thunder Bagua as he just stands there and takes it. All I'm saying is if Kinemon almost died after being fully healed and Luffy almost died after being full, this CP0 boss has to be dead. If not, I'll be livid. He already got stabbed in the chest, man. Just let him die. I don't care about him. So the real MVP of the arc has to be the Skull Dome. I mean, it's been taking so many hits and it's still up. How is it still standing right now? There's one thing. It looks like Oda really can't kill anything off. He can't even kill the Skull Dome off. But I just can't believe it's still staying up there. I'm thinking, actually, serious note, I think it might just be hanging up because it's actually going to signify the defeat and the end of the Beast Pirates. So, Hunchback then tips his hat to this dead CP0 boss. So CP0 is looking really bad. They got one agent left in this area. I assume the other guy's either unconscious or also dead, but if Izo is dead, then that CP0 boss has to be dead. We then move to the fly floor where Kawamatsu asks everyone to get out of the castle immediately. He says, please just don't die. If you die in this fire, that's a dishonorable death. So I appreciate Kawamatsu for saying that. Finally, one of the samurais says something like that. Alright, and suddenly a fire beam, Boro Breath attack, comes down into the live floor. In a beautiful double spread, we get Kaido appearing in front of the Alliance and the Beast Pirate members. Kaido announced that Luffy is dead and wants Momo to surrender. Kaido continues by saying that he will take on anyone who still wants to challenge him. We then see Law, who acknowledges that he can't hear Luffy's voice either. It's just disappeared. Then we get Kid, who feels embarrassed for actually believing in Luffy. Kid, you're gonna regret thinking that, man. F you. Alright, we get Chopper and Otama, who are hysterical, and they either believe Luffy's dead or they believe he's been defeated. So that's really sad to see. Nami refuses to believe what Kaido said, and calls him a liar and a snake. Kaido then aims a boar breath at her, but Marco blocks the boar breath and saves her. Honestly, Marco's looking like he's still got some juice left. He looks like he might have recovered from everything, and he got a little bit of his stamina back, so that's great to see. Maybe Marco will get a couple more feats in, or he'll get some fights in with someone else. I don't know who he's gonna fight, maybe a little bit of Kaido, but he's still there. Nami is left crying on the floor with Tama. After the victory, Kaido announces that Onigashima will still drop on the Flower Capital, and everyone will work for him as a slave if they weren't on his side in the first place. Wano will go back to a weapons factory as well, because that's all it's used for in Kaido's eyes. Kaido says, until Momo surrenders though, this war is not over. So the raid still hasn't failed, baby. We then get the Beast Pirates, who are now happy to hear what Kaido just says, trying to attack Kid and Law. But the Kid and the Heart Pirates protect them against the Beast members, which are pretty much just all fodder. But it's good to see that the Beast Pirates and the Heart Pirates are actually fighting for once, and they're doing something. Meanwhile, Nekomamushi and Kare are running to fight again to get to the main floor. A lot of the samurai are still trapped in the fire too, so we might have deaths from this fire still. Law and Kid still have more in the tank and decide to get back up and fight Kaido. We then go back to the outside of Onigashima with Momo and Yamato, where they're arguing between each other. After the defeat of Luffy, Momo is convinced that the only option is to surrender to Kaido, because if Luffy can't win, no one can win. And that's when we get Yamato stepping up to the plate as the honorary next member of the Straw Hat crew. She says, fighting until the last breath is the way of the samurai, Momo. We haven't really fought, so it's our time to fight. However, Momo was thinking it in a different way. He still wants to surrender because fighting will only increase the casualties. That's when Yamato claps back. If you surrender, I will never forgive you. If you live, you will only be a slave, living till you die. The idea of surrendering to save yourself is cowardly. She also says that the daimyos, their biggest regret was that they didn't fight back against Orochi. So, Momo, do you really want to live like that? This battle has been on the back of 20 years of struggle for all of Wano. If you insist on giving up so bad, then let's just die together. So, after hearing those words, Momo and Yamato look fierce and are ready to fight. We now see a brief shot of Onigashima held up in the air once again, and we go back to Luffy still unconscious on the ground, but it seems something in him is beating. Zunesha hears this thumping, the same sound from 800 years ago, the drums of liberation. And from what I can see, the drums of liberation goes back to African culture. It was talking about the ability for them to fight for freedom through music, and then the awakening of Luffy's devil fruit. This allowed the drums of liberation to return. And I think it's actually specifically relating to the will inside of Luffy, the will of D, that is allowing him to actually send out the drums of liberation. It doesn't have to do with the devil fruit itself, but I think the awakening has given him more power, and it allowed the innate ability of his will to actually break free and grow even stronger from his defeat with Kaido. And then Zunesha hypes us up. It's like, he's here. And then Momo's like, who's here? And then Zunesha says, Joy Boy has returned. And then on the final panel, we have Luffy and His Awakening. We see his face, we see his big grin, steam coming from his mouth, his body and his face, and even his hat are melting. So from this, I'm gathering that Luffy's awakening is finally here. And then we get the man who smiles in silence. Unfortunately, we have a break next week, so it's going to be 2 more weeks till we get a new chapter. But this chapter, there's so many theories that can come out of it. I'm super hyped to see everybody's response. I'm super hyped to put out my theory as well. From what I can see, I believe Luffy's devil fruit is actually the resin fruit and not the rubber fruit. And I think this allows Luffy to have a couple of forms where he's solid, and then he goes to a liquid, and then he also can control fire from the oil itself that's being produced by his body. This then in turn allows him to make a rubber world, as well as melt the world around him, light the world on fire. And he can also, take hits from electricity and not get hurt. Maybe allows him to take fire hits as well and not get hurt as bad. And I think this can, in turn, allow Luffy's fruit to be a counter to a lot of the other big name fighters that are still left, like Akainu, Blackbeard, that he has a lot of counters to go against them. I think this makes Luffy's fruit special too, where it's in between a Paramecia and a Logia. And I think there's a lot more to come about this. I'm really not sure about the drums of liberation, but I gave my thoughts. I believe that it has to do with his actual will himself. I'd love to see people in the comments tell me what they think about Luffy's fruit and his awakening, what it is, and what they think about the chapters. Give me your thoughts below. Like and subscribe if you like my content. I'll have more videos coming soon, as well as more of a in-depth breakdown of Luffy's fruit or theories of what his fruit is. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.